ilang babies ba ang
2 or
gagawin?
3.
Mga 2 or 3 yung gusto namin.
Meron ka ng Year of the Ox ngayon? Kaya ba? You should
Kaya natin mamaya.
I will be joined by my dearest friend, Tessa Prieto Valdez.
I really feel it's really just being uniquely yourself, being comfortable in whatever style you have. And I think it's being true and unique.
I call her a superwoman, Miss Gail Cruz Macapagal.
Hindi nahihinto ang pangarap, lalo pa nga nating sisipagan.
That's so amazing, Gail. Hello everybody. Happy Easter all the way here from London. I hope you guys had a very solemn and a very nice week with your family. Today mga kaibigan, I am super duper excited because I will be joined today by my dearest friend. She is like, oh my gosh, she is like one of a kind. And I'm super duper excited. I met her, in fact, a couple of years ago through our common friends. And in fact, when we were living in Oxford, here in the UK several years ago, she and the super duper, very loving husband also visited me in Oxford. So mga kaibigan, while of course I welcome everyone who is tuning in today for our episode of Fun, Fortune, and Feng Shui with Marites Allen, I would like to share that our guest for today is a very popular Filipina psychologist known for her tell it like it is views on love, sex, and relationships. Her expertise is founded in a strong academic background from the University of the Philippines, where she graduated in Bachelor of Arts in Psychology as one of the only 7 who graduated magna cum laude in 1973. She was a scholar at the University of Hawaii and obtained her Doctor of Philosophy in Clinical Psychology from Ateneo de Manila. A true brainiac, she is also a member of international honor societies. Among other things, she is an esteemed educator, a writer, columnist for Rappler, and a television host. We are so honored to have her with us today to share her thoughts, hopefully on love, relationships, but more importantly, how to maintain our mental health in this time of lockdowns due to this pandemic. Let us all welcome, my friends, the best-selling author of the book, Life, Love, and Lust, our bubbly, very smart, and charming friend, Dr. Margie Holmes. Welcome to the Marites Allen Show, Dr. Margie.
Thanks very much, Marites. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh my God, I am so happy to see you again. I love you. I love you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Yes.
Sending love to Jeremy. How are you?
I'm very fine, darling. Marites is saying hi. Can you hear him? I'm so sorry, Marites, but we do not have the wonderful tech people you have. That's why you can see my ring light.
No,
But
no, no
never mind.
problem.
My heart is pure. My heart is pure, and I will try to give you a very good show,
Oh my
which it
God.
always is naman.
You are one of a kind, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for this honor. Thank you. And look, in your honor, I'm wearing your super duper
Oh,
very nice necklace that you gifted me many, many years ago. I treasured it.
yes.
So it travels with
Oh,
me, and it's with me many, many countries already. It's been with me in many
oh,
countries.
thank you so, so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So mga kaibigan, this is a very special piece of jewelry that Dr. Margie, this is a golden ingots, jade ingots, which was done by our dearest friend, Bernadette.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So
Marites
I am so
Villacorta too.
thrilled.
Yes,
Send my love to her. So
I
everyone,
will.
you're keeping well, Doctora, in this
Oh,
pandemic
yes,
there?
yes, yes.
Staying at home for the moment, or
For
you cannot
now,
go
no
outside, no?
vaccines yet. When the vaccines come, kakaingit nga ang UK. But never mind, it will
Yes.
come.
You will get there. You will get there. With your very positive personality, it will be there.
I hope so. Yes, yes, it will.
Yes. Sandali, I almost, Doctora, I just want to find out, you are the best-selling author of the book, Life, Love, and Lust. Did I read somewhere? It has been republished like how many times? Many, many times.
Oh, yeah, yeah. At least 12, 13 times.
Oh my
And
God.
there was a 25th year anniversary, imagine, which if I can just make a little yabang, I'm so happy because the analysis never changed. The only thing that changed actually was one thing, which is
Uh-huh.
about the spot. Because when I first wrote it, then now 27 years ago, a lot of doctors were talking about the G spot, how they knew about it, and
Mhm.
that it existed, etc., etc. And then 25 years later, none of these doctors were to be seen anymore. Very
Really?
few were brave enough to come out
Wow.
and say, yes, the G spot exists. So basically, that was the one thing that changed between the first edition in 1990 and the 25th one. Of course, we
Oh my
changed the
God.
story a bit. Now there were
Amazing.
more stories, yeah, on
Congratulations.
OFWs. Thank
Grabe.
you.
Yeah, after this, because here in England it's still locked down. So I said, I'm gonna check it out on Amazon. But otherwise, if it's available in Manila during the shipment to be sent over here, I'm gonna also have my copy. I have my copy somewhere in Manila, but I want a copy here as well.
Wow. Thank you.
Congratulations, Doctor. A question lang: how many apos grandchildren do you have now?
I have two, and I think it's gonna stop at two. Uh, Ethan, they both live in Philly with, my friend, with
Uh-huh.
my friend, with the mother, who's my daughter, and her husband. So two, one is 6 and one is 2.
So no one pala is in the UK. No apo in the UK.
That's my husband's one daughter who's in the UK. Yes.
I see. Yeah, yeah. Because I remember when you visited me here, I thought you were visiting an apo here as well. So they were in the
No,
US.
not them.
That's why
Yes.
you go
Yes.
around. Si Doktora mga kaibigan,
Yes.
she travels around the world. Like a couple of times in a year, she would go around. So, Doctora, I just would like to welcome our viewers. Joey Abanelia, good evening. Marisol Montenegro, Teresa Kramer from Netherlands. Thank you for watching. Maggie
Wow.
Paras, Celarina Gonzalez, Glor, hello. Marianne Fernandez, Jill Sardeas. Of course, our very dearest Bernadette Villacorta. Thank you for watching, darling. So ready na
Yes.
kayo vegan to your questions later because Doctora is here for a great fun day. Okay, mga kaibigan, my first question with Doctora is, what is inside this beautiful mind of a Doctora Margie Holmes that made you, who you are, what you are today? What can we
So,
see?
wala ba itong censorship? Because most people want to know why I went into sex therapy or sexual relationships, which is the first thing I
Okay.
went into. And to be completely honest, anyway, matanda na ako. So,
Of course,
nothing can happen to my career or anything. Or if it does, I don't care. Anyway, what happened is when I was in UP as a sophomore, I fell in love with a married man. And I like to think he fell in love with me because he was threatened that he would lose his job, but we continued on anyway. Not that I'm necessarily proud of this, but anyway, when I fell in love with him, I didn't know who to go to. I'm sure there would have been priests and psychiatrists who would have been able to respond to my needs. But
That's
I
right.
didn't know anyone I could go to. I wanted to ask, well, of course, if you go out with a married man, it's almost a sure thing you're going to have sex. I mean,
Yes.
because it's not like you're both young and virginal, no? And so what I wanted to know were questions like, is anybody still going to want to marry me if I'm no longer a virgin? And I was miseducated. I came from a convent school. And I didn't know anyone to go to just to get straight answers. I didn't want to be oppressed by their opinion, by their religious beliefs, etc. I just wanted straight answers. Didn't know who to go to. So decided when I grow up, when I
Yeah.
take my master's, when I take my PhD, I am going to be the sort of therapist that women like me and men like me can go to.
That's
So
right.
that's why
Oo
I went
nga.
into therapy. And
Wow.
then I realized that sex therapy was a very narrow, limited field. And to really help and understand the person, you really have to take clinical psychology. Because hindi ba, Marites, sorry. It's
No
late na.
problem.
It's late na kasi and I lectured for 7 hours straight. Sorry, forgive me.
Sorry.
No, my pleasure. The greatest sex organ is the one between your ears, di ba? Not between your legs. So that is why I decided to get a
see.
PhD in psychology and clinical psych.
Wow. Oy, mga kaibigan, we're learning. Thank you so much. Imagine. I'm excited tuloy. No, this is a lot of help. Thank you, Doctora. With all your experiences from the past, recent, what was the defining moment that you consider a turning point in your career? I mean, Doctora, in the Philippines, I mean, I remember when I was starting Feng Shui,
Yes.
Philippines is a Catholic country.
Yes.
So at that time, at the beginning, 20 years ago, I had to be like told off, Feng Shui is a religion, not a religion. So I had to sort of like
Yes.
battle. I had to navigate into the minds of the
Yes.
public that, there is, Feng Shui is about science, etc. I mean, what about you? I mean, this is talking about, sex in the Philippines.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I had some difficulty.
Uh-huh.
I
What was your
think,
experience?
I'm sorry.
What was your experience, like
Oh.
what is a defining moment in your career? Because did you say you started in the 1990s? How was it
Yes,
then?
yes.
How was it
Well,
then?
it was really difficult. Although, I might say, Manuling Morato tried to get me off TV, tried to censor me. But I guess in the end, if I were completely honest, it helped, no? I mean, I don't know. But, we were written up in Time, Newsweek, Philadelphia Inquirer, Far Eastern Economic Review, CNN, BBC. So I guess that was good. But many people were against me. It was difficult. I think what helped was the buzz started when I had a daily column in a national newspaper. And I think in a way I was so happy it was a column because people could really read my words. They couldn't misquote me. Like people
Yes.
always do. Like, I'm sure they have misquoted you
Yes.
so many times, Marites.
Yes, that's
Right?
right.
Yeah.
Yes, I see.
Yes.
This
So
this
that's why
newspaper.
it was a turning point.
I see. So it's really. Would you say it was like educational to the public? It really was made educational to the
I think
public.
so. I hope
Mm-mm.
so. Yeah, I think it was only people with, well, I think people with narrow minds that, that saw, that thought it was bastos when it really
Mm-mm.
wasn't. I mean,
Yeah.
this is my view. Of course, I'm biased about my own work. But, I have a lot of support, even from priests, but from the deans of
Mm.
UP, etc. So I knew I was on the right track. I felt good.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing that mattered is, in the end, kasi hoda nila. I know what I'm doing is right. So I am so thankful that UP backed me up. I am so thankful, especially UP, because Ateneo, maybe because it was a religious school, just suddenly disappeared in the,
I see.
ether. But I am so happy that good people backed me up. But I like to think that even if they didn't, I would have gone through with it because
Mm-mm.
I mean, I think you have to practice what you preach. And if one
Of
of the
course.
things you preach is do what you think is right,
Yeah.
that's why,
And you walk the talk. You walk the talk.
well, as you do, Marites.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Wow. Question lang, Doctora, because lately, I mean, it's not even lately. I mean, I was just wondering, what would be your thoughts? Because I have four kids, two boys, two girls. The eldest is about 27, 26,
Mm,
24, and the youngest is
mhm.
18. And then
Wow.
in their generation now, they have this LGBTQ
Mm,
plus whatever. Sometimes I don't even understand. And my daughter would not is very, because it's being taught in school, for their
yes,
awareness and everything.
yes,
Was
yes,
because if you talk to my like mother-in-law, their generation is different. I mean, I love gays. My God, I could not I cannot survive without gays. A lot of my friends are gays. But then, I mean, how is it in terms of like your views on them? Because in before, in the past, in the 1990s, it wasn't really that open. But
mhm.
now, do you think Asia or Philippines in particular is welcoming with this community?
Well,
Very.
in my experience, they are, and that is thanks to very, very good people. Of course, I can only talk about UP and PLM because these are the universities I teach at, no? But
Mhm.
in UP, Dr. Manalastas, who is now studying more in the UK, in Nottingham. Oh God, Eric, forgive me if it's not now. Anyway, he's doing extra studies there. He was instrumental in opening the first course in LGBT psychology, and that
Oh,
was wonderful. And many years back, I wrote a book about gay men, and the surprising thing is that was the book which got the most brickbats. No,
wow.
people complaining, people calling me, the worst things. and
Wow.
and not that I blame the Catholic Church, but there is a line that the Catholic Church always uses, and this is not just for gay men or lesbians or transsexuals, but all other people, which is love the sinner but hate the sin. And I think people think that they're being very open-minded, but in my
Mm,
opinion, okay, my opinion, and also based on research, no, evidence-based research, to call uh, a person gay just because the person is gay, and to call that person a sinner, I mean,
yeah.
talk about being judgmental, you
Yes,
know
yes.
and you are
Mm,
right, Marites. I do not know all the,
yeah,
like Q is
yeah.
questioning, A is advocacy, etc. But I think and I hope uh, the basic stance of being human, of being accepting, is that you learn about something before you judge it, or maybe your
Yeah.
standards of judgment shouldn't be whether they conform to society, but whether they live good, honorable lives. And so I think if people like you and me do not know all the words or all the jargon, we I think people will forgive us if they can see
Yes.
in our hearts how we really feel. At least
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I like to think. No.
No, but I think, in this we are now in the 21st century. We have to be aware. We have to, we have to be
Yes.
like updated. What's going on.
Yes.
We learn every day. Kaya nga we never should stop. Learning. By the way, Doctora, you have a big fan here, Theresa Kramer from Netherlands. I like Doctora Holmes for being straightforward and vocal. She's a great,
Oh,
brilliant psychologist.
oh,
Teresa is
Teresa,
from
thank
Netherlands.
you. Can I make a
Uh,
joke and say you have great taste?
there we go. I miss Dr. Holmes. Great job, Marites.
Oh,
Thank you. Dexter,
oh,
we love Dr. Margie. This is one educational episode.
thank
Thank you
you,
so much,
Dexter. Thank you,
guys.
Mary. That's very sweet. Thank you.
Thank you. Doctor, what was like the biggest challenge or rewards being, in your career as a sex advisor? Or some, of course, consider it. You are the expert in that field, the best, not like the
Okay.
only one. Was there any like parang a biggest challenge somehow?
Yeah, I think there were two. What I remember is the personal challenge because, there were a lot of people who said very bad things about me.
Oh.
I was
Mm.
not exactly I was a prostitute, but something like that, and I was etc. And for a while, I was worried about my daughter, who was then 9, 10. I mean, what would she feel? But I helped her understand again, what other people think is what they think. It's not who you are. In fact,
Mm.
there is a joke. There is a joke about a psychiatrist who was doing a Rorschach test, which is the ink blot test, and you ask people what they see because it supposedly helps you psychologize them more. So he told this person, what do you see? And usually people might see bugs or relationships or, churches or buildings. But this guy said, the first ink blot, I see a penis. And the next ink blot, the guy told the psychiatrist, I see a vagina. And then the next ink blot. So the psychiatrist said, you seem to have some problems with sex. And the guy was very indignant and said, why? You're the one showing me all the dirty pictures. So the
Okay.
pictures were not dirty, they were just ink blots, but it depends on the person who sees them. It
Ah,
depends on
I
the person who
see.
judges. So this
Correct.
is one of the things I had to, I had to sort of help my daughter learn because the
Mm.
words were very, were very personal.
Uh-huh.
But,
Wow.
you know, but thank
Galing.
God,
Yeah,
in the end, as I said, kasi hoda.
well,
Ah,
you see, it's ano na, it's really something. What you brought into the society is very educational. It
thank
is,
you.
it is. I think I would say it's breaking the barriers.
Oh,
You know what
thank
I mean?
you. Like you, Marites, like you with Feng Shui. I
Thank
think
you.
any idea,
Yeah,
that
I think you can only
frightens
like,
people.
you can only like do your best and your part with what
That's
you
right.
can for the time given, and I believe all of us was given a chance to be who we are and what we are today. Doctor, we're gonna go for a very short break in the next few minutes.
Sure,
A very very short
sure.
break. I just would like to say hello to Joanne Frya. Sabi niya, I miss Dr. Holmes. I love hearing her advice and wisdom.
Oh,
Thank you,
Joanne,
Joanne.
thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Oh my gosh. And of course, to those who just tuned in today, welcome with another exciting episode with the one and only Dr. Margie Holmes. We're going to be seeing you in the next 2 minutes. Kung gusto niyo pong tuloy-tuloy ang swerte sa buhay, mga kaibigan, pwede po kayo mag-invest ng 9 Dragons Painting. Ito po ay nagsisimbolo ng inyong kasaganaan sa buhay ay pwedeng dumating sa iba't ibang maswerteng lokasyon. Maaari po maglagay ng mga well chips sa inyong bahay kung ikaw po ay isang negosyante or kung gusto mong umunlad ang inyong negosyo. Maaari po siyang lagyan ng mga coins or mga gold ingots para po punong-puno at maswerte ang daloy ng negosyo sa inyo. Alam nyo ba na dapat sa pagtulog, kailangan na isang buong cushion ang kanilang hinihigaan at hindi po dalawang single bed na magkadikit lamang because yung sa gitna na kanilang patlang ay posibleng magsimbolo ng hiwalayan na mag-asawa. Sa inyong mga living room or sofa, kailangan po maglagay ng mga cushions na merong mga mystic nut symbol. Ang mystic nut po mga kaibigan ay nagbibigay ng mga peace and harmony para sa pamilya. Hello everyone, Dr. Margie. We are back with our exciting episode here with Fun, Fortune, and Feng Shui. And of course, Doctor, I forgot to greet you a happy Easter. And happy Easter to all.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Happy Easter to you and everyone that's watching the show.
Yes. Do you know, Doctora, that it's very bright and sunny in London today. And yesterday, the whole of the Regent's Park was packed with people. It's very normal. It's 16 degrees. It was 16 or 17 degrees. So a lot of people are out because I think more than half of the population has been vaccinated. So it's like really like freedom. It's like never. I think so normal. I mean, it's really been normal here. So malapit na. I think in a few months, fly back na.
I hope so, Marites.
Yeah, tell Jeremy you better fly back here. Mga kaibigan, the lovely husband of Dr. Margie, Jeremy, I think we have some photos that we could show. So Jeremy, the very loving husband of Dr. Margie, is actually he finished his law degree from University of Oxford, right?
Yes, that's right.
That's right. So, mga kaibigan, pag University of Oxford, oh my God, you're just like, your brain is one of a kind. So, mga kaibigan, let's have a look some of our photos, Doctora. See, that's our dearest friend.
Yes, and Marites, and there we are, Marites, the two of us.
Yes. This is
lovely.
This is a couple of years ago, Doctora. And this one is in Oxford. When you visited me.
Yes, that was, yes. Yeah. And I have that lovely Frigga. Frigga blouse.
Thank you. And this is Jeremy, the very loving, sweet husband of Dr. Margie.
Yes, we were giving a lecture there on the 25th anniversary. Yes, that's right.
Yes. Oh, wow. Wonderful. Yeah. Very nice. So thank you for sharing your moment with us. And it's really
thank you.
Oh my God, very exciting, Doctora. Thank you.
My pleasure.
How do you deal with, like for example, of the cases, on all the cases and clients you have worked with before, Doctora? Kindly share with us, did you ever have, I think you mentioned already like a bit of a worst moment. What was like the best moment you encountered in your lifetime so far? I think I would like to know something like, are you now on because in Feng Shui, Doctora, what I do is like, if the grandfather was consulting me in Feng Shui, then the son would consult me. And now when the son get married, when they had to deliver a baby, it's now like I have to choose an auspicious date for them to deliver a baby. So parang I'm working on a third generation already.
Wow.
That's clients as well. Do you have
I'd much rather share with you a theory that we have in psychology, in family therapy, which is that your family of origin is when you are a child and your mother and father are your mother and father. That's your family of origin. And a lot of times, the issues that were not resolved in your family of origin tend to pass on to what we call your family of generation, which will be when you are the mother and your husband is the father, etc. So like they are in Feng Shui, it is very happy to try and deal with and resolve the issues in one generation. So what passes on are the good things. The good
Oh,
things, hopefully, right? Yeah,
wow.
because sometimes, there, and you will see it's amazing sometimes that secrets that were there in the first generation tend to
Mhm.
pass on. Or sometimes, remember, we ask, why does this woman always end up with the same man? Always,
Yes,
even though they look different, they're
yes.
all abusive men. And a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times it has something to do with their childhood. So unless these issues are resolved, it will be very difficult for this woman to find a different sort of partner, to be comfortable with a different sort of partner.
Ah, wow. So that's
Yeah.
really it. Oh my gosh. So mga kaibigan, please be ready with your questions if you have. This is now
Yeah,
your chance.
yeah, I'd
Please.
love to answer
Yeah.
questions if they have
Yeah.
them.
We
Just
welcome
tell
your
them.
questions. we
Just
we
tell
will
them not
welcome
to be
any
angry
questions,
at
mga
me.
kaibigan. Any questions you would like Doctora to answer, we would like to welcome any of your questions. So, Doctora, how do you deal with misfortunes with your personal life, to your public life, considering you're a very big personality and known to us all, many fellow professionals? Um, just like for example, when same thing with me in Feng Shui, right? Marites, minamalas ka ba? Puro pala pa
Oh,
pampaswerte yung isip mo. Of course, minamalas din ako. You know what I mean? So,
of
it's
course.
like, how do you handle that, Doctora? Any tips for us?
Okay. Well, first, let me tell you that is, of course, one of the difficulties because I remember several people saying, "Oh my God, Doctora doesn't practice what she preaches." But actually, I do. For example, I practice that you must never feel forced to share your private life if you don't want to. All right.
Okay. Yes,
So
of
if
course.
a person will ask me something terrible, I don't have
Mhm.
to answer him or something so intrusive. Can I tell you a short story because it makes me
Please,
look so
please.
bright?
Yes,
No.
yes.
Well, I remember once I was giving a lecture and somebody asked me, very aggressive. And now that I'm older, they don't ask too many questions like that. But when I was much younger, they did. Much younger and sexy like you, Marites. They would be very aggressive. So one guy asked me, Holmes, that's an American name, which it wasn't, of course. But Holmes, that's an American name. Why did you marry an American? Why did you not marry a Filipino? So what I said is, because I hadn't met you yet. And so, because I just made it a joke,
Yes,
what could I
yes,
do? But of
yes.
course, sometimes you cannot be that clever. And when they ask you things very generally, so, you tell people that anal sex is okay, for example, as long as you follow certain things, no coercion, you're careful, you're hygienic, etc., etc. Did you ever have anal sex? But this is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying everyone should tell their private life to people.
Of
All I'm
course.
saying is you ask me questions if it's information, especially if it's information. I'm so happy to give it to you because there is research on everything I tell
Yes.
you. And
Mm.
if it's just my opinion, I have enough integrity to tell you this is my opinion. This is
Yes.
not a fact. And this is what sometimes people don't understand. They'll say, "Oh, Doctora, she's not really honest. She doesn't practice what she preaches because she doesn't want to say whether she went to an orgy or not."
Mm,
And
mm,
because
mm.
you're not forcing me, I'll tell you I didn't. No, but and it has nothing to do with that. I mean, if they were really smart, that's why I say it has to do more with the person who responds than what, like a lecturer or a
Yeah.
psychologist is saying, if they were really smart, they would see that they're barking up the wrong tree. They're
Yeah.
looking at the superficialities when what really matters is something more deep. At least that's what I think.
Yeah. Thank you for that. But would you say, Doctora, in the 21st century, from 20, 30 years ago,
Yes.
the community, the world has changed in terms of the openness. Too many books has written about it. Too many movies. Too many. It has changed, right? Would you say it is
Oh,
easier now than before for you?
it, it has definitely changed. It is easier in that one doesn't stand out simply for talking about sex,
Mm,
etc.
mm.
However, with social media, there's a lot of false information out there. And I
Ah,
just really hope that people have the power or the ability to discriminate, to be discerning, so that
yeah,
they know or they can tell what is, what comes from a responsible source and what comes from a non-responsible source.
that's
It's
right.
very difficult.
Yeah.
Not only about sex, but about politics,
Yeah.
finances, etc.
I mean, I think it's parang a different discipline, isn't it? Like whichever
Yes,
way you would like to proceed. Sabi dito,
yes.
may mga questions dito, Doktora. We will entertain your questions later. I'm gonna ask my questions first, then later, mga kaibigan, we will come to you. Me first.
Okay.
um, Doctora, when you talk about, if we have to permit me, if we could please talk about something to do with feminism,
Sure.
can you please share a piece of your mind and shed a light to our audience, so we may be able to understand it. How are we, or where are we in this whole beautiful world?
Okay, it's a little difficult, right, to talk about where we are because different women have reached so many different have reached their goals, and different women have not. Uh,
Mm,
just the only thing I think that is very important for people like you, Marites, and maybe like me, whom people listen to, is I think we have to be aware that we were showered, we were gifted, life was unfair in a way that we got the education, or we got the push, or we had a family that supported us. So
that's
I
right.
think, no, not you or not me, but I have seen others who do not seem to be aware of this. So when they give advice to other women, they say, I would just leave him, ganyan, ganyan. But
Mm,
you cannot. You cannot, if you do not have a good job of your own, you cannot leave so easily if you do not have resources you can count on. You see,
that's
and
right.
I think for a person who is like a blind feminist and says no man should tell you what to do, you're not really looking at the people who come to you for help. If you realize that they cannot really do it, or they're in a foreign country, they're in London, and they're
Mm,
depending on their husbands for their visa because they still don't have their visas, or because the husband has kept their passport. Someone like
exactly.
us, someone cannot just say, if I were you, I would do this. I
Yes.
think that's what we have to learn, because feminism means so many different things to so many people. But
Wow.
ideally, it would be if you can choose what you want to do with your life. And not
Mm-mm.
all of us can. And I hope the other feminists like you and me, Marites, can help other women do this,
Yeah.
either by, whatever,
Yeah.
teaching, setting
Or
up shelters,
yeah,
etc.
an ear to listen. We can listen to
Yes,
them. And I think, Doctora, thank you for that. And as well, like this one now, what we are doing is we're practically giving out information to them. Our fun fortune in Feng Shui, mga kaibigan, is every Monday. And I said, it's pandemic. I cannot go back to Manila yet, but here we are. We
mhm,
are, we are close to each other. We can touch as many people, as many followers we have around the world. So this is the
yes,
best way to, take advantage of the time. I'm like what you said, Doctora, you had been lecturing for 7 hours today. Oh my God. And mga kaibigan, here in London, it's Easter Monday. It's a holiday. I said, nope, no holiday.
Wow!
Because it's Easter Monday, it's a bank holiday. But I said, no, I don't do holidays. It's a working day. Doctora, talking about here in London, and I think it's also in the Philippines. I think by our viewers can also parang, share that the mental states, that the mental health issue brought by this pandemic,
Yeah.
here in London is like so high apparently, like, because remember it's so
Really?
cold, it's so dark,
Oh
it's
God, yes, yes.
people can think of suicidal and everything.
Yes, yes,
What are your
yes.
tips and advice, especially to our fellow Filipinos who lost their jobs? The
Oh,
husbands
geez,
and
yeah.
wives, they had been together in a house for a long
That's
year.
yes,
That
yes.
could be a source of, too much of seeing each other may not be, you know,
That's right.
yeah.
No,
So,
no, that's right.
what's your advice, Doc? I mean, how? Paano?
Well, I think although I realize this is easier said than done, okay, easier said than done. I think first we have to accept where we are and we have to accept ourselves. Some of us took advantage of this time, took online courses, baked a dozen dishes, etc., learned how to cook, and that's fantastic. But some of us could not do that. And that is also fine. I remember Jack Ma of Alibaba, he
Yes,
said,
yes.
if
I love it.
if you save your life during this pandemic, you have already reaped all your profit for
I
that year,
love
or
that.
for
Love that.
us for these years. No, I think we should understand that. It's a difficult time, and don't compare yourself to others. And
Others.
it's easy, I know, because sometimes I do it and I feel so bad, no? But that is so important. You're doing the best you can, okay? That's number one. Number two, yes, mental health has gone up. Anxiety and depression has gone up. But I see the longer and longer this pandemic has lasted, the higher and higher the stress levels, and therefore the depression and anxiety has been. I think if people had trust in the government, and I am not saying what governments are trustworthy and what are not, no, I'm not saying that. I think it is easier for them to deal with the pandemic because they feel some help is coming along or the government is doing its best. That also helps. But I think the most is don't judge yourself too harshly. There is a new concept in psychology now called self-compassion. No longer self-esteem. Kasi nung araw kung self-esteem, ang yabang-yabang mo eh. Well, I did this, at least and that. But self-compassion is, one, you learn to forgive yourself. Two, you tell yourself the same things you would tell your best friend if she
Oh,
did something bad like you think you did. Hindi ba?
wow.
Your best friend says, I didn't, I didn't tell my mother I loved her enough and then she died of COVID. My God, can
Yes,
you
to
imagine? Huh? And you have to be self-compassionate. Yes, that's terrible. But what if your best friend came to you with that problem? What
mm,
would you tell your best friend if you knew that, she tried the best she could do? So that's one thing in self-compassion. The other, which I think helps, is this idea of what they call common humanity. Hindi ka nag-iisa. Hindi lang ikaw ang may problemang ganito.
wow.
Maraming may problemang ganyan. I
Wow.
think that helps. I hope it helps some people who are listening here.
Yes, it has whole. Oh my God, mga kaibigan, wow! Take away from the rest, from just like that, the few minutes advice of Doctor is so valuable. Self compassion is very key. Of course, believe in yourself. Do not compare yourself with others. Jack Ma
Yes,
said that if you wake up in the morning and you are alive and keep yourself
yes,
well, then you have already win the battle. Oh my
Yes.
God, really a very, very great advice, Doktora. Mga kaibigan, this is wonderful. Oh my God, thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thank you, Doktora. One final question from me before we entertain our friend's question. Do you believe in luck? And do you consider luck to
Oh,
be part of anyone's life?
yes. Let me tell you. Naku, sorry, ang daming kwento. I'll try to make this short. Yes, I believe in luck, and I will tell you why. And this is from Peter Ustinov. I think he wrote about this in his biography. I loved it, so I never forgot it. He said, yes, life is unfair. Okay? And so you're lucky, right? But 50% of the time, it's unfair to your benefit. Okay? So 50% of the time, you have good luck. And 50% of the time, it's unfair to your detriment. So if I may use my example, so I'm unlucky, or 50% that I was unlucky. Look, my nose is so pango. And naku, especially now under the anti-racism, Asian hate. Look, I'm so singkit. So I'm unlucky in very many ways, right?
Uh-huh.
But maybe I can say I'm lucky. I have friends like you, Marites. I have friends like, the people at Hias. I have my husband. Of course, he is my fourth husband, And the listeners, I'm only telling you this so that you don't think I'm nagmamalinis, okay? But anyway, so I'm lucky in some things too, like all of us are. So just please, when you look at yourself and blame yourself, see, because you can be lucky. Maybe you have the ability to be thankful for things other people are not thankful for. Maybe you have the ability to literally smell the roses or smell beautiful flowers that not everyone has, And even these seeming little things mean that you're lucky, that life was fair to your benefit and not only to your detriment.
Oh my God, that is so wonderful. Oh my God, Doktora, this is so good. Mga kaibigan,
So yes, I believe in luck.
so you believe in luck, of course, mga kaibigan.
Yes.
So now let's give way to our question. By the way, somebody is writing here, Doktora. It says, it was a privilege from Glore. It was a privilege having Dr. Margie Holmes as one of the lecturers back in my college days, organized by our psych department at
Oh,
Cagayan. Oh my
thank
gosh.
you. I love Ateneo. Cagayan, Xavier, right? Xavier University.
Great
I
Savior.
love
It's you. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
There's somebody here from Dr. Carl Bomatay, Dr. Margie. Wow. Thank you for your sharing. We are lucky to hear it. How to resolve po the childhood experience para makat ang negative energy para hindi na ma-pass on to the next generation.
Carrie, what a wonderful question. I know I cannot give an answer as wonderful as yours. Una, we don't have the time. And secondly, maybe I don't have the answers.
Don't worry.
But what is the most important, Carrie, is to realize what the negative energy was from, where it came from, because sometimes you don't know. Right? I remember there was one girl, she was so nice. She gave me a list of, what did it say? Signs that you have already gotten over your trauma. Signs you have already gotten over your childhood. And one sign is you no longer blame yourself for things that happen, because this is what her parents kept on doing to her. And she thought she was over it. But later when she looked, she realized she was still blaming herself. Regret is blaming yourself. So just look and try to examine what exactly was the negative energy. Kasi especially when you were young, that's why it's terrible to have toxic parents then. When you're young, you cannot really say what happened. When you're young, you cannot articulate, you cannot work out why you felt so unhappy or why you felt something was dirty, because nobody told you about your private parts. Do you know what I mean? So I think it is very good that you realize, or that people realize, that sometimes the toxic things that happen in our generation can pass on to the other generations. That is the first step, knowing. Second is trying to work that out. I don't necessarily mean going to a therapist, although there are people trained to help you with this. But talk to a trusted friend, talk to a priest, talk to someone whom you feel knows and has integrity, etc. Those are the first two steps. Then there are other steps where you have to take baby steps. But again, be compassionate for yourself, because it is difficult when you come from a dysfunctional childhood. I mean, I'll tell you, I came from a dysfunctional childhood.
That's
It's
right.
very difficult. But,
Yeah.
it's not our fault. Unfortunately, sometimes we get we get the flack, and we get the biggest burden because of it. But please just remember, it is not your fault. You were a child. You had no choice in the matter. But thank you for trying, so that hopefully your children will not go through the same pain, will not have to live with that pain, even when they grow up and have kids of their own. I hope
Wow.
it works.
Wow, that's the words of wisdom from Dr. Margie. Amazing. Thank you. Doctora, how can people find you if they want to have like an online consultation with you? Of course, I understand this has to be a paid consultation, whether it's a series of weekly, hourly. How can they
Oh,
find
yeah.
you?
Okay, let me give you my husband's email. No, mine na lang, so it's easy to remember.
Okay, we will
I'll
post it,
say it
Doctora.
first.
Yeah,
Can
we
you
will
put it up?
post it.
Okay. Thank you. It's drmargieholmes@gmail.com. So it's one word, no capital, DR for doctor,
Uh-huh.
Margie, Margie, and Holmes, HOLMES,
Yeah.
at gmail.com. Oh, they're perfect.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you,
Perfect. Yeah.
Marites.
So mga
Thank
kaibigan,
you.
sulatan niyo po if you would like to have a consultation with Doctora, that's where you can find her. And at the same time, last na lang Doctora before we say goodbye temporarily for
Sure.
now until next week mga kaibigan for our episode of Fun, Fortune, and Feng Shui. My guest for next week is Renee Bird. She's a very, very established popular singer here in London, and she's actually one of who form or following charities in Africa as well. So, mapapanood ko po siya next week. And of course, try to please follow me on Instagram or Facebook. And of course, Dr. Margie Holmes, follow us on Instagram and Facebook. And of course, mga kaibigan, please follow me and share Marites Allen on YouTube. Doktora, isa na lang, a very short question. Someone is asking, what advice you can give from Joey Abanelia, how to have a strong relationship if your husband is always away working?
Oh, yeah, that's very difficult. I think the most important, and it's difficult, I know, Joey, is you have to talk to him. You have to share what you really feel. I know that's easier said than done. You can say, I never told you about my difficulties with your working so much. Do you think you could work less? I don't mind if we don't have enough. We don't have as much money. Just work less because I need you. Or you can say, it's my fault. I made you think money was so important. But now I want you here with me. Or whatever it is. Because once you start being honest, it helps the other person become honest too. Parang sayaw yan eh. It starts at this, and being honest is one of the... So maybe you understand why he feels he has to work so hard.
Yeah, and it's for the family. So God
Yes.
bless you, everybody. Thank you so much, Doctora. I would have another part two with you, hopefully in the future. I know time is not enough. We can have a series of information. And from the bottom of my heart, I love you so much. I wish you well. I wish
Thank
you all
you.
the health and love. And send my love to
Thank you.
Jeremy, all the way here from London. So mga kaibigan, thank you so much. And I will see you soon again next week and on Friday for our episode of Fun Fortune and Feng Shui on Monday and Frigga Fashion Friday this coming Friday. So mga kaibigan, thank you so much and see you soon.